you guys should actually, enjoy your stake of the cake and be proud of yourself for how far you have supported HRTV to come, and also more to also come as we prepare to bring you guys nothing but the best. Thank you guys all. Now let's go ahead and thank our sponsors for also helping us that far. Your sponsors are the kind of Feel Good Services. Feel Good Services are in case you're looking for a motivational speaker and as a mental health educator. Bia obetimi no edin komo na wetimi ama okuma toya ma Feel Good Services and edin ho adansi achira no. You can locate them or contact them at feelgoodservices@gmail.com. Saso biom na make am say Feel Good Homes. Culture was a wo pedanya to. And I say bia whether being 4 bedrooms and now say be a 5-bedroom house, East Legon Hills, or metimi aboa, as I send a pet also so metimi aboa. Nemom celebrate see a minoka say dear apartment a fee studio echo 2 bedrooms located at Pokwa say Ajenga no, and also no East Legon Hills no. They will be able to offer you some good cozy place to feel good at home. So Feel Good Homes, no better my contact me again at feelgoodservices@gmail.com, and now say you can WhatsApp them at +1513 372 5758 and now +233 208 149 504 and okoto dana no say PK and the small now discount be a wo bia no ne mfa now also etimi enya discount any be edamase. Oswald Wellness LLC, SMN Control say, so far as you live within this neighborhood and that's a vicinity, DMV area, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia, and NASA, Ohio, please, in case you're looking for a nurse practitioner, your primary care manager, now wow in terms of weight management, and I say if you even looking for IV hydration, they can also help you as well. Contact this number 513-268-2740, and also Wellness LLC will always take care of you and make you feel well as well. Top said, Papa no no, and Ebiom, like Director rightfully said last week, into Mombo Modia, Namun Senisi can call. We still have about 3 days to be sending money. Who knows? Maybe Director has some good news for us today with any updates that Ecosonon. But with that being said, I want to say big thanks to Top Send. Easy, fast, secure, and convenient way to send money back home. Download the app if you haven't already done so, and if you already did, please make sure you spread the word to your families and loved ones for them to also download the app, and also put in the promo code PK P-KAY, and on your first transaction get $15. As usual, once you get it done and you send the money back up, please send me a screenshot and I will make sure you get your bag of rice. Thank you guys very much. At this point, we're gonna invite the director to give us any updates from Tatapsen's corner. Director, on point to say.
PK.
Bibi awo kodem.
Nyame adom. Yeah, manage.
Manage and be manage. Any updates you have from Tatapsen?
Okay, I wish you for good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening from. Say the your European friends be handy. They can good afternoon, good evening and you're bad, right? And say good night and so anyways. PK, like you said, we are hopeful. Say BB Beba out into still we are in talks with the Bank of Ghana and Adibia Shedensi sa but then you all can send till the Thursday if nothing comes out. Into the no. Right now, I mean, just to assure people, say even if it should happen, it should be a short term, and we are bouncing back into. I will just talk small about new features like the ABBA app and so. I think you all know, say you can now use the PayPal. You can now use Google Pay, and then say beam nankrofo be demanded. Then I send you Sika Apple be apart from Ghana. We are opening up and say now you can send to the UK and some parts in the Europe. So and kakra so US so na Canada so I think that in the US crowd they been started pilots into very soon ebeko amobia bi. We also have the wallet system in the US and Chebeba Canada. Your wallet to wallet where PK Betima sending me sending Anki Jimmy scan, Anki Jimmy Betima sending PK scan. Very soon it will come. We are also working on the card system where you have a card. Someone use Wise and name Revolut, you can have a card where we the groceries and the other. So PK Kakrabia may work any set about many time be green. Say BB or Honoma, you could ask tonight. Yeah, to us.
maybe maybe sir.
Na ade ba na me refi. Mr. Mwabusa for Mohanu. PK with it for link in it so. Move to power, move to na ya nominate the higher we go.
They like the better so. And now maybe do what you guys is yeah, they like the better
Mo
so.
fantos. Na me hwe PK anim na odekwaje award no pa no wa frame me ahye. Am man hye suit ni bia no go.
All this sweet in the coin.
Eh bra me hye suit ni bia.
I'm just saying the cabe friend to man now all the seats now they corner na menti as no.
And tomorrow they come me free bi da obi case. See na me no obi kasa said that.
Oh sorry, I know they didn't do a mabre home friend to mother. It was for my twice why. Na director to yen come am here say but I know the day home friend to mother. If you don't go him come am here say bi of. Papa as I said to trap. What I'm just about cry the chidi so that I him kwa be say do edi wechi. Ebusiafo edabo jira asesa baba kwa bakese eba HITV so jubedi a demotintima the whole North America time with tap sen ye tofo ye sua de esa so edie ejiyeni. So today and I said tonight no our topic for tonight is more updates on the US immigration and with our seasoned lawyer lawyer Victor ESSIEN. But before I introduce lawyer Victor ESSIEN, I would like to give big shout outs to the one and only John Agbe, the one and only. This man has been very, very consistent with his membership, his support from day one. And John Agbe, I wish you said, "Ka obeti mi amaya ye peke award ni beti mi wa kwakwaji award on the 27th." Aba that was it. Thanks for all that you do. And mama kana mo yes so no from all different angles. Obi o ya de crampa obi ehun no de no hwie minimum obi otimi invite nipa be say 15 eba platform so say ma me mbo ni din da me bo ni din obeja show de hwe me mpe so obeja nti no ni din no me mbo but one day ebia na mabo na ma wi makopa acho say boni bi otimi din no ahye da kopa acho. But I want to say big thanks to you all. Nyamu ye ni no. We are always grateful. Not a single day do we go by saying, oh no, a normal striker should go any news. Nah, a news. And we are very grateful to that. Yeah, you and if you want to know, we will introduce our speaker for tonight. Lawyer Victor ESSIEN. Welcome to the show. Lawyer, you are muted.
Okay, thank you very much, PK.
Yes.
As usual, it's my pleasure to be here and to share with you, your viewers and listeners, the changes that are going on in the U.S. immigration arena.
Yes, sir. So today, what we're gonna do basically is one. I know today update is not that much like the ones they gave us a couple weeks ago. So once we're done, the more time we have for a lot of questions, so that we don't have to hold you up like we did to 7:30, 7:45 the other night. So
Okay.
we're looking forward to good updates. Then I know said people are very, very ready and steadfast for a lot of questions for you as well.
Good. Today, I intend to discuss changes within the citizenship and naturalization application process in the United States. I'll touch on changes that have already taken place, those that are imminent, and some that are in the pipe dream of the Trump administration. Secondly, I'll discuss the changes regarding the consular processing of applicants. And this is for both non-immigrant visas, and immigrant visas. Thirdly, I will touch on the rationale and effect of the new visa integrity fee. Then briefly, I'll look at the effect of the 600 military lawyers that have been brought in to help with the immigration backlogs, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea. And finally, I would like to look at the changes that have been wrought recently. Actually, as of September 4th, the USCIS has instructed officers to pay particular attention to the rules determining public charge inadmissibility. So it won't be too many on our plate, but enough to feed our demands. I'll start off with the changes to the citizenship program. The first part deals with those that are in the pipe dream. As we have already noted, the present administration intends to make things more restrictive, more burdensome, and more problematic for immigrants. And at the moment, there's a proposal to essentially make the citizenship test harder, where as of now, there is a pool of 100 questions, out of which individuals have to answer 6 of 10 of them correctly during the interview. But what they propose to do is to enlarge the pool of questions from 100 to 120. And when you go to the interview, you're going to be asked 20 out of those 120 questions, and you have to get 12 of them right in order to pass. The worst part of it is that they want to introduce an essay component to the interview process. They are going to ask you, for instance, write a brief essay describing how you can contribute to the proper development of the United States. This is very subjective, and clearly it's unfair. It's not in any way standardized. But this is what the Trump administration wishes to do to cut down on the number of individuals who will be eligible or qualify for citizenship. The other one that is also in the pipe dream is that they want to eliminate the facility whereby individuals who have been in the United States for a certain length of time and who are of a particular age to be able to undertake the test, the civic test, in their native language rather than in English. They want to get rid of that. The basic rule is that if you are 50 years or older and have been a green card holder for 20 years, then you will not have to take the civics test in the English language. You can take it in Chi, you can take it in Dabani, you can take it in Polish, you can take it in French and the like. The same is true for individuals who are 55 and above and have been here for at least 15 years. Those individuals also, at the moment, have the benefit of undertaking the test in their native language. What the Trump administration wants to do is that everybody has to take the test in the English language. Totally unfair, but that is what they intend to do. I also just want to point out that today, before they change it, individuals who are 65 years or older and have been green card holders for at least 20 years can basically just be tested on 20 as opposed to 100 questions. And typically they are they are the much simpler questions that they ask them. So this is what is in the pipeline. This is what the Trump administration wants to introduce to make it harder for us. We are hoping that it will not have the blessing of Congress, or it will enjoy a favorable challenge in the court if they decide to go with an executive order rather than a congressional act. Now, with regard to naturalization, they have already introduced the necessity for what they call neighborhood checks. To put this in context, before 1981, if you wanted to become a US citizen, you even had to take 2 witnesses with you to the citizenship interview who were going to vouch for your good neighborliness, were going to vouch for your good conduct, your moral conduct, and the like, and your suitability for US citizenship. Then in 1981, they dropped that requirement and said that it is enough if individuals go through a biometric. At that time, it was simply fingerprint. And the FBI went through their fingerprints and decided whether they had any criminal record or the like. And so that was what was the law in those days. Then what they basically again tried to do was to still make it possible for individuals to utilize the neighborhood checks as a way of overcoming whatever difficulties they may, whatever issues they may have in terms of proving their good moral character. Now, USCIS has sent out notices to officers everywhere that in addition to the fingerprint checks, they also have to go to the neighborhoods of applicants, talk to their neighbors, talk to their employers, talk to their co-workers to determine whether they are of good, character, and their addition to the American citizenry will bring happiness to the United States, whatever that means. Now, the way that it's going to work is that if you are going to file a Form N-400, which is the application for citizenship, you should, apart from the pictures and the other things that you are going to submit, like tax returns, you should also include affidavits from your employers, from your friends, your neighbors. You should include every type of evidence that would make it possible for them to say that we have enough here. We don't need to send anybody out to the neighborhood. Now, if you do not include these documentation, these pieces of evidence, the USCIS would or may require what they call a request for evidence from you, where they ask you to submit these type of pieces of evidence or documents. And your failure to do so would be grounds for your application being denied. And if you fail to do so, then clearly you are inviting the USCIS to bring agents to come and ask your neighbors, your employers, and other relations. So that is something that has already kicked in. I have not had any client so far been subjected to it because this the whole procedure started only a few weeks ago. So hopefully we would know more about how it is going to work. Now, in the light of all of these changes and proposed changes, one advice that I would give anyone who intends to file for citizenship is to do a risk assessment of his suitability for citizenship. There have been instances where somebody applies for citizenship after having been a green card holder for well over 5 years, which is the minimum, well over 5 years. And then in the course of the interview, the immigration decides to review how they obtained their green card. In one case that I'm fairly familiar with, this gentleman was petitioned for by the father. So it was a US citizen parent filing for a son. At the time that the application was filed, he was unmarried. So he fell within a certain category, namely the first family preference category. Then, after he attended this interview, he decided to go and get married to his fiancée before entering the United States. He came, and then when he applied for his citizenship, he had put on the application that he was married. They took a look at the date of marriage and found that he was married prior to his entry to the United States. If the USCIS had known that, his case would not have been adjudicated as a family preference 1. Rather, it would have been the preference category of an individual who is the married son of a US citizen. And the time for his admission would have been longer. Now, not only did this cost him his citizenship, but they decided to place him in removal proceedings, that he perpetuated a fraud on the USCIS with regard to its admission to the United States. So it is important, before you apply for your citizenship, get a risk assessment done. Make sure that everything is on the up and up with regard to how you obtained your green card. Secondly, if after obtaining your green card, you have had any problem with the law, you want to be able to review your criminal history or background with an attorney to make sure that none of the offenses that you have committed can be classified as a felony or an aggravated felony, which might place you in jeopardy, so that rather than obtaining your citizenship, you will end up being placed in removal proceedings and bearing the risk of being removed or deported, as the case may be. So it is important to do all necessary background checks. While in times past, it was never an issue, or very rarely did we come across instances where somebody's eligibility for green card had been questioned. Now, it is the order of the day. It is de rigueur. And therefore, one has to be very, very careful before you even apply for citizenship. In some instances, you are better served by remaining a green card holder rather than attempting to apply for citizenship. Now, the other change or changes that I would like to bring to the attention of our meeting today is the requirement that now, both for non-immigrant visa applicants and immigrant visa applicants, USCIS has ruled that adjudication of your application should be in your country of residence, or if you so wish, your country of nationality. Because particularly with regard to immigrant visas, there have been long waiting periods as a result of the COVID backlogs. A lot of people have opted to ask or request the National Visa Center to move their cases to Côte d'Ivoire in particular, and other African countries, so that they can have their visa interviews quicker and hopefully without waiting for the long period of backlogs. What the USCIS has done with the collaboration of the State Department is that you can only have your case transferred to another jurisdiction or another consulate if you are a resident of that consulate. Now, if you still go ahead to do it, clearly it will be denied and you will have to repay all the fees because they are not transferable. And you will then also have to suffer the inconvenience of starting all over again. This is true, as I said, for both the non-immigrant visa applications and the immigrant visa applications. There are instances where, because of limited consular activity in a particular country, another country has been designated as the place to consular process for those coming from those countries or nationalities. If that is so, that is still okay. In other words, if you are from Haiti and because of limited activity at the consulate or non-existent activity at the consulate, the State Department has designated Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, as the country to adjudicate your cases. It is still good. The new law doesn't change it. There are other countries in Africa, Somalia, where they go to Nairobi, Kenya, South Sudan, where they go to Nairobi, Kenya, Sudan to Cairo, Chad to Cameroon, and so on and so forth. Those are still good law. But if you are not in those jurisdictions where the State Department has non-existent or limited activity, you should respect the new rule or the emphasis that you should only apply for a visa interview in your country of residence or your country of nationality. Associated with this issue, I just wanted to bring to your attention that it is now September, come October. So far, there has been no announcement, but there is every hope that the diversity visa lottery will kick in typically at the beginning of October till the beginning of November. At the moment, we don't have the exact date, neither do we have the list of eligible countries. As soon as the decision is made, it will be published in the Department of State website or portal, and so you should be able to go and get the necessary information in terms of your eligibility as a Ghanaian or otherwise, and the date you should submit your application. The next issue that I would like to bring to your attention is the US visa integrity fee. This is a new and additional fee. Normally, if you are a non-immigrant visa applicant, you pay $185 to be able to file the DS-160. What the integrity fee is doing is that it's adding an additional $250 to your visa bill. The rationale behind this is that it wants to give people an incentive not to overstay. But of course, we know that $250 is no good reason why somebody will not overstay. They tell us that if you go back as required by your visa, then you may be reimbursed for the $250 that you paid. So whether it will work or not, it is hard to tell, but this is it. 250 extra for non-immigrant visa applications. Again, it is in addition to the standard fee that you are going to pay. Those who are applying for H-1B or L visas or R visas who normally pay $205 will be paying $205 in addition to the 250 as well as the 250 visa integrity fee. Now, the other issue that I want to draw your attention to is that you know that the Trump administration has since January fired well over 100 immigration judges. This, in spite of the fact that there are over 3.5 million backlog in immigration court. So what they have done is to create a facility for military lawyers who have no experience in immigration law, who have no experience in any type of administrative law, who have no background as immigration judges, to be roped in and fill in the big backlog at the risk of having judges who are likely to be swayed by the political winds of the time and whose lack of experience may affect the very process that they are hoping to facilitate. So how does that impact on us? It impacts on everybody who will have the misfortune of being brought before an immigration judge. You would not know whether it's a military lawyer or your standard fare immigration lawyer with considerable experience. And you may say that, oh, even with the military lawyers, you can train them and make them as proficient as the regular immigration judges. That may not necessarily be the case. Traditionally, temporary immigration judges were usually retired immigration judges or appellate immigration court judges or individuals who have worked as immigration lawyers for a considerable length of time. So they have the proper pathos for handling the cases of victims of persecution and the like. So we are yet to see the effect of these military lawyers in immigration courts, but our prediction is that it may not be a very good experience for most litigants. Finally, on updates, I want to bring your attention to the fact that the USCIS has reminded the district administrative officers or district adjudication officers to strictly enforce the public charge inadmissibility provisions with regard to admission and adjustment of status. It has always been the case that if you are applying for adjustment of status, or if you are abroad and you are filing for admission to the United States, you've got to be able to satisfy the adjudicator that you are not likely to become a public charge in future. And among the things that you were supposed to bring to show that is to present an affidavit of support from an individual who could, based on their respective salaries, as confirmed by their tax returns, who could show that they are capable of supporting you for up to 125% of the poverty guidelines. Or if the applicant or the alien or the individual seeking adjustment happens to be one that is using an affiant or an affidavit of supporter who is in active military duty, then the support guidelines indicate that you should only be able to support them up to 100% of the poverty guidelines. Now, what is happening is that now with the new decision by the USCIS to enforce strictly the public charge inadmissibility provisions, the immigration officer is required, in addition to the affidavit of support, to also look at the applicant's age, their level of education, their health, their assets, their financial status, their education and skills, and if they have ever been past or current recipients of public assistance. All of that will be weighed before they decide whether you satisfy the inadmissibility requirement under the public charge provisions. So basically, these are the issues that have been boiling up within the immigration arena. I hope you will pay attention particularly to the rules regarding citizenship applications. Before you go and file your N-400, make sure that you have checked your background. You have checked your background before you became an LPR, and your background or your history subsequent to your obtaining the LPR. So this is it for the moment. I am happy to answer any questions relative to any of the issues that I just raised, or any other questions for that matter, which may be of concern to you.
All right. Thank you very much, lawyer Victor ESSIEN. We really appreciate your time and your effort put in this. And I must say that the people are ready with some questions. So we're gonna start off, Charles and Esther. I see you too. I'm gonna call you guys, but let's read some comments first. Um, okay. All right. So even in the chat, people are just voting again. I just posted the link to the voting link. Please click on that, vote, and let us um, get your support so that we can bring the trophy home. iPhones says, how long is I think he or she tried to say how long is it taking to get an interview at Accra, Ghana?
The way that it works is that when your case is approved, it is sent to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it collects all the documents that are needed, as well as the fees that are required to process your case at the consulate. Once all the fees, usually $445 per person, and the documents in terms of, your birth certificate, your passport, your photograph, the affidavit of support, and so on. Once all of that has been received, you will be issued an email or a letter indicating that you have been documentarily qualified. In other words, they have received everything that is needed for your interview and for your final processing of your application. What is happening is that once you receive this, I have cases where individuals have received the documentary qualification letter in 2022, and up till now, we are still waiting for the interview to be scheduled. I have to point out that it depends on other factors. What type of, is this a case involving a spouse? Is this a case involving a son or daughter? How old is the son or daughter? And so on and so forth. So all of these things would factor into it. But the basic situation is that the backlog in the worst possible scenario is close to 3 years or 4 years.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
I'm pretty sure. So the next question is from Simeon. Simeon says, with the new guidelines for naturalization, if executive order is used to implement it, what are the chances that the Supreme Court can overturn it? Is this grounded in the Constitution or case law?
I suppose you mean the new rules with regard to the number of questions for the citizenship test and whether they are going to be able to eliminate the native language facility and so on and so forth. When Trump came to power in 2016, towards the end of his reign, he attempted to do that. And he attempted to, it's not all of these changes, but the thrust of that exercise was to make the citizenship test harder or more difficult. And it did it by executive order, because that is how they operate. Luckily, he lost the election in 2020, whether he admits it or not. And when Biden came, Biden, because it was an executive order, he was able to push it aside or revoke it. Now, if there is no change of government and we have to rely on the Supreme Court to determine whether the changes should be allowed to stand, basically, the basic position of the law, and it has been the basic position of the law, and there is case law to support it, and statutory law, is that it is only Congress that can determine the immigration rules or legislation. Now, if they are trying to say that this is one that is following on an already approved legislation, and therefore what the executive order is merely fine-tuning what Congress has already given them in a fair contest before the Supreme Court. My estimate is that the Supreme Court should find enough reasons to set that aside. But as you all know, this Supreme Court is quite unlike any other Supreme Court that we have seen. So it's just likely that the Supreme Court might let at least some of it, the hard part, stand. It may not let the elimination of the native language facility, but at least in terms of increasing the number of questions from 100 to 120 and asking you to answer or get 12 out of 20, I think that would be an easy triumph for Trump.
Okay. All right. So before we proceed, we're gonna Charles unmute yourself. Um, Charles, if you can unmute yourself, producer, you may co-host.
Hello.
Yes, Charles. Please tell us where you're calling from
Yeah,
and also your question.
my question is about the transfer of interview place. Yeah, what about if the one has already transferred, maybe like his interview place from Accra to Abidjan or Cote d'Ivoire? Can he transfer it back to Accra? And if it is yes, is it going to affect the time frame for the interview?
Okay, Charles, before your question get answered, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from America, Columbus, Ohio.
All right, thank you very much. Over to you, Lawyer ESSIEN.
Yeah. If you transfer it to Cote d'Ivoire and you transfer it back, you still have to pay all the fees again. Not only that, it will obviously get to the tail end off the pool, you would have lost considerable length of time by the various transfers. The fact of the matter is that if you are not a resident of Cote d'Ivoire, under the new guidelines, Cote d'Ivoire will not, in other words, the US consulate in Cote d'Ivoire will not accept your case. You have no choice but to go back home. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We're going to go back to the questions. Esther, can you put your hands back up again so that I can see you and call you for your question? So this one is coming from Ikea. Ikea says, I filed for my mom in October 2024 in Ghana. I'm a citizen. How long will it take on the average for her to get the interview date?
Your mom is an immediate relative. There is no question about availability of a visa if you are a US citizen. So your mom, we can estimate that she will get here in 2 years.
Okay.
In other words, it's even, yeah, it will be shorter than the average.
Okay. But I think she's talking about the interview date.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The interview would be in 2 years.
Okay. Gotcha.
The
Collins?
approval itself, maybe a matter of 6 months, 7 months. But when the case is sent to Accra for the interview, that's where you have to wait another 2 years or so to get.
Okay. Collins says, thank you very much for your time. I wanted to ask if one came with a J2 visa and has now written NCLEX and gotten a job which is willing to give out H1B visa, does she need a waiver before she can adjust her status?
Yeah. First of all, we have to determine that your J1 visa is one that is subject to 2-year foreign residency requirement. If it is subject to a 2-year foreign residency requirement, it is only when you are adjusting your status that the waiver comes in. But if you are moving from one non-immigrant visa to the other, you may not necessarily need it. However, it is not always easy to move from one non-immigrant visa to the other. So that may be the challenge, not just the waiver.
Okay. Jem says, please can a conditional LPR file for children under 18 and how long will it take?
A conditional LPR can file for, it's as good as an LPR, all right? And as long as your children are unmarried, it doesn't matter how old they are, but the older the children are, if they are older children above 21, they will be in F2. So that could take a good 4 or 5 years. If the child is under 21, that is an F2A category, and that could be, I would say, maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Even with that, yeah.
Esther says, what's the possible risk involved in overstaying on your B1 visa?
Well, the risk is that unless you attempt to adjust your status by marriage to a US citizen, you cannot be able to, if you go home, you will be considered to have been an overstay. And if you overstay your non-immigrant visa by up to a year, you have to stay home for 3 years before coming back. If you overstay by more than 3 years, you have to stay home for 10 years before you come back. So if you overstay your non-immigrant visa, the only thing that will save you and allow you to adjust your status in the United States is marriage to a US citizen. If you got an employer who is willing to sponsor you, it will not work because you are not overstay.
Okay, that makes
You
sense.
will have to go home and be subject to the 3-year and 10-year bar.
Okay. Kenny says if one has everything up to par, is an immigration lawyer assistance needed to apply for citizenship? If an immigration lawyer assistance is needed, how much is a consultation fee with you? Any discount available?
Regrettably, you will have to call me to discuss this. This is not a matter of for public discussion.
Okay.
But
we will get your information before we
basically,
leave.
yeah, you give me a call afterwards. Yeah.
All right. Jem says, how long does it take for a citizen to file for stepchildren under 18?
It takes the same time as a citizen filing for their own children under 18.
All right. Reggie says, I have a question. Can I be unmuted? Reggie, put the emoji up like Odisha did, and once it's time for us to call you, we will meet you for you to ask your question. So please put your reaction emoji up. So when you go to reactions, right next to chat, and you click on it, you'll see raise your hand and click on that, and we'll call you after Odisha. C says, can someone who is married to a U.S. citizen come to the U.S. on a non-immigrant visa, like a student visa? Will their attempt to come look like they are? Will their attempt to come look like they have? I think basically what he or she's trying to say is someone with that someone who is married to a U.S. citizen come to the U.S. with a non-immigrant visa, like maybe some with the person is married to a U.S. citizen, but will come to America with a student visa. Would that attempt look like they have come with an immigration intent?
Right. The way it works is that before you are given a visa to come to the United States, you have to complete a non-immigrant visa application. One of the questions they ask is whether you are married or not. If you are married, where does your husband reside? Now, if you let them know that your husband is here, chances are that they will not give you the non-immigrant visa because it's a totally discretionary facility. Now, if you do not tell them that your husband is here, when you come here and attempt to file for adjustment of status, the moment you go to the interview, your non-immigrant visa application will be before the officer. And they would say, hey, how is it that you were married at the time you attended your interview and you said you were not married?
Okay.
And that will be a basis for the denial of your adjustment of status too.
Okay. Odisha, please unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from and your question.
Okay, good evening. I'm calling from Virginia, US.
Okay.
Right. I have two quick questions. One, I came with a J1 visa as a teacher, and I was not subject to the 2-year rule. But unfortunately, my wife and kid were subject to the rule. So I want to ask if, in case I want to change or adjust the status, what is the implication? And then secondly, I would like to visit Canada. I have a Canada visa, and I would like to visit Canada during the Christmas. But my visa expired, the Ghanaian visa expired last month, which is August. But my DS 2019 is still valid to 2027 with the family. Can I still go to Canada and come back, or I still need to apply for another visa? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll take the last one first. When you step outside the United States and the validity of your visa has expired, you would need a new visa to re-enter. Now, as far as your ability to adjust your status, if you have a basis to apply for adjustment, because you came with a J1 visa that is not subject to a 2-year foreign residency requirement, you can do so. When it comes to your dependents, they will be able to carry through because, in other words, if you are filing for them, if they are derivative beneficiaries, then they will enjoy the privilege that you also have. Is that clear?
Okay.
Mm.
You want to tackle the second one, the first one?
No, I took both. The first
Oh, you
one,
started. You did the last one first, and okay, got you. All right.
yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna read some questions. Then the next person we'll call will be Reggie. So iPhone 12 Pro Max says, please, what if you filed for your spouse in Ghana and the spouse traveled to Dubai, started working there, and had Dubai papers? The lawyer convinced me to move the case to Dubai for further processing. It stays there for more than 2 years. I only received the acceptance letter, and my husband said he would come back to Ghana, so he again moved the case back to Ghana, and still haven't heard from them. Please help me advise. Please help me advise me because I don't know what to do now. Please.
I got a little confused with the fact pattern. So you
I'm pretty
filed,
sure one of the partner is a citizen, filed for the other partner. The other partner ended up being in Dubai and started working in Dubai. Became a Dubai had the Dubai papers over there. The case started over there, got a date. Then later on, moved the case to Ghana to go proceed with the case. But since they've been to Ghana, they've not heard anything from them yet.
and so the case is now in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this would require a follow-up question with regard to
So iPhone 12
what,
Pro Max, once we put lawyer ESSIEN's number in the contact, please make sure you contact
yeah,
him and go over
because
that detail. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
there are some
I think
details that would be needed.
the Son of Man says, how long can I be a citizen after married to a U.S. citizen?
You
I
have to
think
be, I think I guess what he's trying to say, if you are married to a U.S. citizen and you are a green card holder, you have to be a green card holder for 3 years before you can apply for U.S. citizenship.
okay. Frank says, can a 10-year green card holder brings children from previous marriage to the U.S.?
As long as you are a green card holder, you are eligible to file for all your children, whether you were married to their mother or not, or whether you are still married to their mother or not, provided they are not married. A green card holder can only file for their unmarried children.
Okay.
There could be 30 years, there could be 60 years. You can still file for them, but they should be unmarried.
Okay. All right. Reggie, please unmute yourself. Tell us where you calling from and your question. Okay. If Reggie is not ready, we're going to move to...
Hello,
Yes.
Reggie is here. Yes.
Where you
I'm
calling
calling from
from?
Wisconsin,
Yes, sir.
the United States. I have two quick questions. The first one is I filed for my parents while they were in Ghana, and at the same time, I applied for a visa for them. They got a visa in January of this year, and they came to the States in July of this year. I wanted to find out first, does the 3 months rule or the 90-day rule affect them? Do they have to go back to Ghana now after 3 months, or can they stay for 6 months? Because on their I-94, they have until January 17. That's what is stated on their I-94. But I wanted to know, with the new rule that Trump has brought up, does that affect them, or do they go till the January 16th? That's the
Okay.
first question. And the second one, the second question is, luckily when they got here, I've got approval for their filing. So I wanted to change their adjustment, do the adjustment of status while they are still here, so that they don't go back to Ghana for the interview, but I would want them to be here and go for attend the interview here in the States.
Okay. When you obtain a visa, a non-immigrant visa, the date that is given you in Accra is the date within which you can enter the United States. When you get to the port in the United States, the date that is stamped on your I-94 is the date that you are allowed to remain in the United States before falling out of status. So yes, it doesn't matter what the new rule is saying. If they got here and the I-94 says you can stay till January, they can stay till January.
Okay.
With regard to the issue of adjusting their status, how, if the children are under 21, then they can adjust their status here. If you are a US citizen, they can adjust their status here, whether their non-immigrant visa has expired or not.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go to iPhone. iPhone says my aunt with the green card has overstayed for 1 year and a month in Ghana. What are the challenges she will possibly face when returning?
Well, she must have a good reason why she overstayed. If she doesn't have a good reason for overstaying, it depends on the consular officer, not the consular officer, I mean the
Immigration officer.
CBP, immigration officer that he meets at the border. They can do one of two things. Ask your auntie to go before an immigration judge to explain why she overstayed by more than a year and whether she can be considered to have abandoned a permanent resident status. The way you show that you have not abandoned your resident permit status is that you say you still maintain a bank account here, you did not quit your job, you have a lease, you have you filed your taxes even during that period of time. If you are able to prove all of that, chances are that the courts will agree with you that you have not abandoned your PR status.
Okay.
You'll be given your permanent resident back. Alternatively, you get to the border and the officer would say, this is the last time you will be given this opportunity to re-enter. The next time you want to go and stay longer than a year, you should file what they call a re-entry permit prior to your departure. It's a form I-131. That way you can remain outside for upwards of a year.
All right.
So those are the two scenarios that they may have.
PA says, how long will it take for a U.S. citizen in the Air Force to file for a spouse once they come to the U.S.? How many years will their green card visa be?
If you are a U.S. citizen in the armed forces, the advantage you get is that you will be able to apply for citizenship, within 3 years, like someone who is married to a U.S. citizen. But if you go get married, your spouse doesn't get any special privilege merely because you are a U.S. citizen.
You mean
They
merely because
will
you're in the Air
come.
Force, you're military?
Who is in the military? The spouse?
Yes.
The spouse is also in the military?
No, the one filing is in the military.
Yeah, the one filing is in the military. Yeah, his benefit is that he gets his citizenship quicker than most, but it does not translate into his ability to bring his wife here faster than anybody else.
Okay, thank you. Frank says a cousin has 10 years green card. He arrived in USA about 3 months ago. Can he bring children from previous marriage to US?
Yeah, I didn't get the last part.
He wants to know if the cousin can bring the children from previous marriage to the US with a 10-year green card.
Yeah, with the 10-year green card, it's like any other green card. So if the children are his, then he can bring the children here, provided the children are not married.
Okay. So the last question before we bring Mensa in, C says, so if I am married to a US citizen but live in Ghana, I can only come to America on an immigrant visa? Question mark. Will I be able to get a tourist visa, or once I disclose I'm married to an American citizen, that visa will be denied? I think we've already answered that question.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And also, whilst we're calling upon Mensa to speak, lawyer, can you please put your contact in the chat so that people can have it? Because Frank is asking and other people are also asking as well. All right. Mensa, please unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from and your question.
Pamucho metumi aka twi kakra.
Me bacho katri.
Okay. Me woro fono nyenti. Ahwe ya na masre me.
Bacho free.
Me free New Jersey, Newark.
Tell kojo yetio.
Lawyer mpacho matete se ebi oho ana mabetuna ha na me ko pension pese me kofie. Mitimi kwatenam ebi a 1 year ana 2 years ansamaba. Matise ebi a owa ha usika yetimi de bre oboso me bia. Ba aye huhu se mati bibi sade a ene na meba program yi so. Ebi a na maka atwamu de a pese ebi a mo wo akwanya bi a mbetimi a kyerɛkyerɛ me mu a ama mahu a etisa na se entisa.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Do you want to translate it so that I can?
Based on his question, he wants to know if you are retired and on your pension subsidiaries that you get every month. If you relocate back to Ghana, you might end up losing that opportunity. He wants to know if it's just like that or not. Tell us, could you purchase here?
Okay. Well, there are two distinctions here that we have to be made. If the payment is social security income, the rules are different. If it's a pension, relative to his employer. That is also different. With regard to Social Security, if you are a citizen, you can get your Social Security sent to you whether you are in Ghana or you are in the United States. If you are a permanent resident, however, you can only collect your Social Security if you are a resident in the United States. If you move to Ghana, you will not have that.
Okay.
Now, as far as your pension is concerned, that you can collect wherever you are. The way you do it is to set up a bank account and let them put it in. I'm assuming, the assumption is that our friend here has at least a permanent resident status.
Okay. Well, then Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and call you.
PK.
Senior.
But na come but na mami to me ho. Me pesa
Wait, me
say.
bit ma je ba ko pe wo nti no. Hwe me
Oh,
no na bisa ba ko ka wo.
Ene ka me ya dufu de pe. Ubetumi a stay by 1 year ansa wa ba ha.
In which
Go
sense?
mate say o say 1 year no nya adwuma. Overstay 1 year no na say we stay more than 1 year no.
And no.
Usika ya de bre wo.
Go ahead.
Usika say o mo de bre wo ha no. O mo ebe sizi ko ti say obesan aba. Oba so asika aka mu no ye ntua ma wo. Gi say ye san renew foforo ansa o mafrase atua o ka wo ha.
No, okay, say if you're citizen there, so as long as you betina Ghana no, omo do sika no set a bank account or Ghana hold ma, omo this can be bro. But so you're a green card holder there, sika no omo timi fan bro hold me. You can only get the money so far as you're resident, will Chrome hand say. That is all your green card. But so you're a citizen there, then you have to go. But what case no there shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But na ya mo ma me sanka lawyer na the number na actually my friend no.
You the better drive so back away. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean sure lawyer.
I mean sure also. Michael, please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from. Okay, Michael, you're ready. Susan.
Sorry. I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, lawyer. Thank you. Yeah, I have a quick question. May I know, lawyer?
Michael, before you proceed, or question there, walk chat to the main kind to say, "Yeah, I'll bet me the no quick away."
And that's exactly what I'm going to ask. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Lawyer, please, may I know which is the best visa to get my partner and my kids here, like within months? Which of them will be really very faster?
Are you a citizen or
Yes.
a permanent resident?
A citizen.
You're a citizen.
Yes.
Well, your only choice is to file a petition for them from here. Now, if you do that, they are still not going to be able to come here within months. It is taking up to at least 2 years for individuals whose spouses are abroad to come. This is not a case of a fiancé where you would say you're going to do a fiancé visa and hope to get them here a little faster. She's your wife, So you can only file a spousal petition for her. And spousal petitions and petitions of children, even if they are under 21, they are still taking about 2 years.
Okay. AI Augustus iPhone say, can I file for my stepchildren without their mother? We are still married. So it looks like he's married with the wife, but then the wife already got kids and want to file for those kids without the mother involved.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can file for the relationship is established between you and your stepchildren. As long as you married their mother before the kids turned 18, as a citizen, you can file for them as stepchildren.
Kenneth says, if you get your citizenship through the military and you quit the military after getting your citizenship, will you lose your citizenship?
And I know your answer is correct.
No, you don't lose it. There are a lot of people that actually get their citizenship through the military. When I was in, and they got it after 3 years, 4 years, and they still have their citizenship. Sandra B says, please, why is it taking so long for green card to be processed? The fee was paid since April this year. After Sandra, then we're gonna go get some Susanna.
Is this a case of adjustment of status? In other words, it's the individual here in the United States or abroad?
It wasn't specified. It was a little bit ambiguous. So
if the individual is here, then you should expect that it will take about 9 months from beginning to the green card interview. But if they are abroad, then it's subject to this long delay, inordinate delay, that is running into 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years if it's over age children.
Okay. All right. Susan, if you take your emoji off, I will not see you to call you. The reason why I asked you guys to put your emoji up is it pushes you to the forward, so I get to see you on my screen. But once you take it off, it takes you somewhere else. Okay, I see you now. Please unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from. Susan, please unmute yourself. When I hit unmute, accept it, and that will unmute you. Okay, Susan is not ready. We're going to read Abina Washington's message. Every year I have to go to the immigration for them to stamp my passport. For these new rules, can I still go to the immigration without any problem?
Which new rule are you talking about? And why do you have to go to immigration to stamp your passport? What have you done? What application do you have with immigration that requires your passport to be stamped every year?
Okay, so Abina Washington, I think you can type that so that we can read that. Frank says a man once denied being the father of a daughter, and during his immigrant visa application and interview, he did not include the little girl. He is currently in the USA with 10 years green card. Recent DNA has proven he is real biological father of the 3 years girl whom he had with his ex-wife while married to his US wife. Can he file for the 3-year-old girl who was not included in the initial immigrant application?
Yeah, but it will be subject to proof, strict proof, and the DNA would help. If the DNA establishes that, and his testimony establishes that he didn't know, or he didn't know that the child was his, he can do that.
Okay. All right. So due to the time factor, we're gonna run a little bit faster. Leo, how much time do we have from you before?
Okay, I will still stay till 8 today
Okay.
if
All
there
right.
are still questions.
All right. Thank you,
But
Suzanne.
not beyond that.
Susanna, I keep asking you to unmute, but you're now unmuting. You have to unmute. I think you're having a problem with your mute button because I can see that you're trying to mute, but it's not letting you. But then I'm always clicking on it for you to unmute. Yeah, I see that when you try, it goes off. Try again. Yeah, or try Penade not Tiafaso. It's not working. Susan, I think we'll have to skip you and come back again. Colin says, my wife came here as a J2 dependent, which is subject to a 2-year home return. She wrote NCLEX and has gotten a job which is willing to sponsor her on the H1B. Can lawyer let me know what she can do?
Well, I mean, transferring from J2 or J1 to H1B may not be a big deal, but at any time that he chooses, because the H1B is not an immigrant visa, anytime that she opts for or attempts to change to an immigrant visa, in other words, apply for an adjustment of status, then the 2-year foreign residency requirement will kick in.
Okay. I
So
think
that's what she has to bear in mind.
we have to pick up Abna real quick because Abna was the one that you asked why does she have to go to the office to get a stamp every year. So Abna,
Yeah,
please
okay.
unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from. Go ahead.
I'm coming from Texas. My question is, actually, they gave me 2-year green card, and I was supposed to receive the 10 years, but they, for some reason, they still haven't given it to me. So every year I have to go there for them to stamp my passport so that I can move around.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Nothing has changed as far as that is concerned.
Okay.
If your case has not been adjudicated, you are still eligible for the extension which you are seeking.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank
Abna,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Susan, can you still mute? Can you try to unmute yourself now? Susan, I can see that it's not working. So just get out of the Zoom and come back in, and let's try that again, okay? All right. So Emmanuel's iPhone says, if your family was given an interview date and later they canceled, can you follow up or you need to wait? And the reason for cancellation was they said they said there's no need to take action because they said there's no need to take action. I'm not sure.
Well,
I think after the cancellation, the reason was like no need to take action. So I said like you don't have to follow up or none of that. I get it now. Okay.
if they say wait, the prudent thing is to wait. But of course, if you wait for about 6 months and they have not come back to you, I think it may be a good time to follow up on it.
Okay.
And this is at the consulate. Yeah.
Susan put her question in here, so we're gonna read that. Susanna says, "Good evening, please. If you are not a citizen but a green card holder and it's been 10 years, is there a possibility for my siblings come to America if I file for them?"
Only U.S. citizens can file for their siblings and their parents.
Okay.
And their children who are married.
All right.
Green card holders, no matter how long you've been a green card holder, if you are not a citizen, you cannot have that privilege.
All right. Producer just posted a link to the HRTV chat room. Please click on the link and join to be a part of our HRTV family. And what we do there is basically to discuss topics that we want to see and treat on this August show. So please click on the link and join. A-Class will also be posting the link to the Friends of Tatapsen very soon, where you can click and join and also discuss anything that has to do with Tatapsen and all the good stuff. Sandra B says, yes, they are here. And I think this is in retrospect to a question that we had earlier concerning whether you wanted to know if they were here or they were in Ghana. Those that were trying to file. Susanna says, it's not letting me. Yeah, Susanna, yeah, we figured that out. And already read your question. Susanna said, please read my question in the chat. We already did that. Thank you very much. Frank says, lawyer, please kindly give me your contact. I'm in Pittsburgh. Lawyer will put the contact in there so that we can go ahead and read. And I'll take that right now very soon. Heather says, how difficult are U.S. transit visas to get for Ghanaians to travel to Jamaica?
U.S. transit visa if you are going to Jamaica?
Yeah, say for instance, you live in Ghana to Jamaica and you have maybe a partner here in America and you have to meet the partner and just go to Jamaica, or maybe meet in Jamaica with the partner.
Well, you will be required to fulfill all the conditions of obtaining a visa to the U.S. And I suppose that Jamaica may have their own requirements. Or maybe even, I'm not sure whether it's a visa-free country for Ghanaians. But clearly, if you want to touch base here in the US as transit or otherwise, you will have a lot of questions to answer at the interview. They want to know why you want to stop here, even if briefly, and you must satisfy them that there is a need for you to stop here briefly. Otherwise, they will see it as a ploy. You want to really come to the US and you are pretending that you want to go to Jamaica.
Okay.
So that's the thing.
Again, producer, posted a link in there. Please click on the link to join the HRTV family as well. Lawyer Victor ESSIEN, can you please give us a number to the office so that people can call and schedule for consultation?
It's 646 742.
Let me put +1 first. +1
646 742
742
9314.
9314.
Yeah.
All right. The number again is +1 646 742 9314. And that is a number to lawyer Victor ESSIEN. Okay. The next question is coming from Susanna. She says, what is one advice you can give? I want to start studying for the citizenship. I'm 65.
Well, if you are 65 and have had your green card for 20 years, then you will be asked to study only 20 questions. And they are usually very simple, the simple questions. And you will do it or answer the questions in your local language. If you are 65 but have not been a green card holder for up to 20 years, then you are like everybody else.
Okay.
You have to study 100 questions and get 6 out of 10 correct in your interview.
All right.
And again, depending on how long you've had your green card, if you've had it for 15 years, you don't have to, you can answer the questions in your local language. If you've had a green card for 20 years, obviously, you can answer the questions in your local language.
All right. Frank says, can U.S. citizen of 18 years files for biological mother? Simply put, do we have an age limit that a U.S. citizen must attain before eligible to file for mother? No.
You have to be 21 or older. An 18-year-old cannot file for their parent.
No, I think he wants to know, sir, is there a number of years you can be a citizen in order to file for?
Oh, no, he can be a citizen, and 2 days later, you can file for your mother as long as you are 21.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Melon says, I would be being in the U.S. for 1 year, 5 months without any opportunity in hand to change status to a permanent resident. I came on a B1. Would you advise seeking asylum as a solution? Melon, just call the office, okay?
Yeah.
Call the office. Yvonne, Oregon says, good afternoon from Oregon. My question, my parents are green card holders and I am a citizen. When it comes to filing for my married siblings in Ghana, is it advisable for me to file for them or best if my parents does? Thank you. Go ahead, lawyer.
Well, first of all, only U.S. citizens can file for their siblings. Permanent residents cannot. Now, even if you were a U.S. citizen and you file for your sibling, it will take upwards of 10 years before their priority date will be current. On the other hand, if your parents are citizens and they file for them, it could bring it down to 6 years.
Okay.
Or even less.
All right. Chrissy says, I'm a citizen and did file for my children who were under 21 prior to them turning 21. The petition was approved and the petition was approved and have since June 2022 been documentarily qualified and they haven't yet received interview dates in Ghana. Is there any way this can be expedited?
No, but if you file for them before they were 21 and they are now biologically, say, 22, depending on the length of time that immigration delayed in approving their case, under the Child Status Protection Act, they would be able to halt or freeze their ages when it's time to be
Make a decision.
admitted to the United States.
Okay.
There's a little interesting way of calculating the age for purposes of individuals like that.
Okay. Again, the number to lawyer Victor ESSIEN is +1 646 742 9314. Some song says, how long does it take to start a process when you file for a sibling? Thank you.
When you file for your siblings, as long as you're a U.S. citizen, you put it in and they may approve it in a year, in 2 years, 3 years, but their priority date will not be current until maybe after 10 years or more.
Okay. A-Class, Danny, Director, can you guys please put the link to the Friends of Startups in the chat room for me? Thank you. again, please click on the link to the HITV chat room and become part of those that will make decisions towards the topics that we want to hear. Um, Alex Coffee says, "Do you help with EB2 visas, and how much will it cost me if I want to hire your services?"
B2, B1, I don't do.
EB2.
Oh, EB2, I
Yes.
don't do that either. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last but one question is from Mama. Mama says, if you've had admission to a U.S. school before marriage, but then will possibly be married before your visa date, will they allow you to go to school? The visa date has not yet been scheduled.
If you are coming as an unmarried child, don't marry, even if your interview has been, if you have been approved. Your marital status at the time of your entry is critical, and you may render yourself subject to deportation if you do get married.
Okay. I says, I am currently in Ghana and I have admission to a U.S. school. I'm also planning to get married soon to a U.S. citizen. Will this ruin my chance of going to school once I go for the interview? Do we hold off until, I think it's the same question pretty much.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna end off with James Owuzu-Kwarteng, and that is, please can a green card holder file for his children?
Yes, as long as the children are unmarried. It doesn't matter how old the children are. The green card holder can file for them.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. Next week we have a topic with our very own mistake. It's Damalie. Damali, our very own sister Damali. So we're gonna be having some good health topic next week. Please invite a friend to invite a friend, and I will call upon director to sign out with lawyer Victor ESSIEN. Director Danny or the A class. Can you guys please sign out lawyer? Lawyer, I want to say thank you very much for coming and always being there for us, to always support us when it comes to updates on immigration law and services. And again, I'm urging each and everyone to please again pick up the lawyer's number, +1 646. Let me take it again. +1 646 742 9314, and contact lawyer Victor ESSIEN. Let him know you heard of him from Time with Tatapsen on HITV, so that once you, after your consultation, you have to schedule for a session, you can get some low discounts here and there. That is the
All right.
purpose of having that. Director, can you please sign a lawyer for us? Is Director Danny and also Director A-Class, any of them available?
Yeah, so PK, I would say a big thank you to lawyer Victor for his time and his availability anytime we call upon him. So we hope to see him again. Definitely, I know PK, you bring him on board. So lawyer ESSIEN, we thank you very much.
Most welcome, most welcome. It was always a pleasure. Thank you, and have a good night, all.
You too. Thank you very much for coming. At this point, we have concluded a live session on Facebook, HITV, and Tatapsen Ghana, and also YouTube HITV. At this time, we're going to turn over the whole mantle to Uncle Jimmy to run the Q&A session with Tatapsen, where any issues or concerns that you have in terms of sending money back home, or maybe pending issues, as well as having some good contributions that you want to add to the Tatapsen family, this will be a good time to do so. So please do not leave. Though we sign out on Facebook and YouTube, I want to say big thanks to you all for making time out of your busy schedule and being part of this, prolific, show tonight. I also want to urge and entreat you all to please go and vote. Go vote for HITV for the best digital broadcast channel in the US for bringing you nothing but good, educative, and also informative shows to your doorsteps. Thanks, Startup Cent, for being our awesome sponsors to make this happen. And see you guys again next week, same time, Monday, 6 p.m., right here on HITV on Time with Startup Cent. And my name is Dr. PK OFORI-ASENSO. God bless you all. Thanks to all my producers and wherever you are. God bless you, and also God bless all our viewers. See you next week. Bye-bye.